Picture this. You are floating in blue water off the coast of California. The ocean floor is invisible beneath you. And somewhere in that void, there's a predator moving through the darkness, not with the clumsy thrashing of something ancient, but with the surgical precision of something designed. For over 400 million years, sharks have ruled the ocean. We have decoded their entire genome. We can track them via satellite across thousands of miles. We have built entire research careers around them, and yet we still do not know where they give birth. That's the great white shark. A creature we have studied obsessively, featured in countless documentaries, turned into a cultural icon of terror. And we are only now realizing how much we got wrong. In 2025, new DNA evidence from Australia revealed that their populations are connected on a massive scale we never expected, forcing scientists to rewrite the textbooks again. So let's talk about the most misunderstood apex predator on Earth and why our ignorance might be the scariest part. Let me be clear about what we are dealing with. Carcharodon carcharias, the great white shark, not a living fossil, not some primitive relic that survived extinction through luck. This is a biological supercar wrapped in chainmail, powered by systems that would make an engineer weep, and equipped with technology that humans only invented in the last century. And the twist, it's been doing this for millions of years, while we were still figuring out how to stand upright. Here's what most people get wrong. They think sharks are cold-blooded fish, slaves to water temperature, sluggish and primitive. Wrong. Great whites have something called regional endothermy. Their eyes, brain, and stomach are warmer than the surrounding seawater. They are not fully warm-blooded like you and me, but they have cherry-picked the best parts of the system, keeping their hunting equipment and digestive factory at optimal temperature while letting the rest of their body run cool. It's efficiency at a level that makes Tesla's engineers look like amateurs. Now, let's talk about their liver. When you dissect a great white, and researchers have the liver is so massive, it can be bigger than an adult human. It's packed with oil so dense with fat that if you threw it in the ocean, it would float like a life preserver. That's not a design flaw. That's a buoyancy control system. The liver acts as both a thermal blanket wrapped around the stomach and a natural flotation device. No swim bladder needed, just a slab of oily tissue doing double duty. Evolution does not waste space. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. Inside a great white's body, there's a structure that human engineers would not invent until 1920. It's called a spiral valve intestine, and it looks like a corkscrew. Food enters, gets forced through this one-way spiral, and is absorbed with maximum efficiency while using almost no muscular energy. Nikola Tesla designed the exact same system for fluid dynamics a century ago. He called it a valvular conduit. The shark got there first, by about 400 million years. Let that sink in. A creature we dismissed as a mindless eating machine was using advanced fluid dynamics before we discovered fire. You have heard the myth a shark can smell a drop of blood in the ocean. The truth is somehow more terrifying. They can detect one drop of blood in 10 billion drops of water. That's the equivalent of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. But it's not just blood. They have electroreception. They can sense the faint electrical fields generated by your heartbeat, your muscle contractions, even your nervous system firing. You cannot hide. You cannot play dead. Your body betrays you just by existing. And those eyes, they are not the lifeless black pits you see in Jaws. Up close, the pupil looks like a dark marble, the iris a deep onyx blue. But here's the nightmare detail. When they attack, their eyes roll backward into their skull to protect them. For a split second, they go completely blind during the bite. They do not need to see you. They have already calculated the angle. A great white can generate a bite force of 4,000 pounds per square inch, roughly 18,216 newtons. One bite can strip 20 to 30 pounds of flesh. But their teeth are not designed to chew. They are serrated triangular blades that slice through muscle and bone like a steak knife through butter. When they hit, it's not a crush, it's a cut, and their skin. Cutting through great white skin is like trying to slice through sandpaper with a scalpel. The blade goes dull instantly. It's not skin. It's a chain mail of microscopic teeth called dermal denticles, each one a tiny armor plate. You are not just facing a predator. You are facing a 2-ton hydrodynamic war machine. In 2019, scientists fully sequenced the great white genome and found something extraordinary. The DNA is packed with genes that repair cellular damage at an accelerated rate. Genes like BAG1 actively suppress tumor formation. Wounds that would take weeks to heal in mammals close up in days. Great whites essentially have a built-in anti-cancer rapid healing protocol written into their genetic code. We are trying to reverse engineer this for human medicine. They have been running it flawlessly for millennia. Now, here's where the stereotype collapses entirely. Pop culture tells you great whites are solitary, emotionless hunters that drift through the ocean alone, attacking anything that moves. Reality: they have friends. In 2020, researchers tracked two great whites nicknamed Simon and Jekyll swimming together for over 4,000 miles. Not coincidentally, not by accident, they were traveling as a pair. Great whites have a complex social vocabulary. Parallel swimming, two sharks cruise slowly, side by side, sizing each other up. It's a dominance check. No blood, just measurement. Splash fights. When things get competitive, they'll use their tails to slap water at each other. Whoever makes the biggest splash usually wins. It's not violence, it's negotiation. They do not just kill, they communicate, they assess, they adapt. And here's something that shatters the mindless predator narrative: great whites do not all hunt the same way. Some are ambush specialists exploding vertically from below. Others patrol actively patrolling hunting grounds with methodical precision. The tactics change based on individual personality and even gender. They're not running on autopilot. They are making decisions. Let's clear up a myth that refuses to die. Great whites are not descendants of Megalodon. For decades, people assumed the lineage was obvious: big shark to slightly smaller shark. Case closed. But fossil evidence, specifically a transitional species called Carcharodon hubeli, found in Peru, proves that great whites evolved from a completely different lineage, the broad-toothed mako shark Carcharodon hastalis. Megalodon was a distant cousin that went extinct. The great white is a mako that went big. Evolution is not a straight line. It's a branching tree, and we have been reading the map upside down. In 2025, researchers led by Clark published a study that upended everything we thought we knew about great white populations in Australia. For years, scientists believed Australian great whites were divided into two separate populations: eastern and western southern Australia. Different breeding groups, different genetic pools. The new genetic analysis: it shows they are one pan-mictic population. They are interbreeding freely across the entire Australian coastline. That means previous conservation strategies were based on bad assumptions. Migration patterns we thought were isolated. They are connected. And here's the disturbing part: if we got that wrong, what else are we missing? There's a deeper genetic puzzle that scientists still cannot explain. Great whites show massive differences between their mitochondrial DNA and nuclear DNA. The old theory was that females return to their birthplace to give birth what's called philopatry. But the new hypothesis: during the last ice age, the entire global population of great whites may have collapsed into a single refuge population in the Indo-Pacific. When the ice retreated, they spread out again, but the genetic scars remain. The exact mechanism still unknown. This is the big one. Despite decades of satellite tagging, underwater filming, and obsessive tracking, no one has ever witnessed a great white giving birth in the wild. We do not know where the nurseries are. We do not know how long gestation actually takes. Estimates range from 11 to 18 months. We see not even confirm if they give birth in deep water or shallow bays. Think about that. We have put rovers on Mars. We have sequenced the human genome. But a 15-foot shark disappears into the ocean to have babies, and we lose the trail completely. Every year, great whites from California migrate to a patch of open ocean halfway to Hawaii. It's called the White Shark Cafe, and it's one of the most nutrient-poor regions in the Pacific. Why would an apex predator swim thousands of miles to a biological desert? The behavior gets weirder. Once they arrive, they start doing something called rapid oscillatory diving, plunging down to 1,200 meters, then rocketing back up over and over again. Is it mating? Are they hunting giant squid in the deep? Are they following prey? We cannot even detect. Science does not know. And honestly, that makes it scarier. And then there's the ultimate plot twist: great whites are terrified of something. In California and South Africa, orcas have learned to flip great whites upside down, inducing tonic immobility, basically a paralysis state. Then they surgically extract the liver and leave the rest of the carcass behind. When this happens, every great white in the area vanishes. They do not just move, they flee the region entirely, sometimes for months. The apex predator has a predator. Here's the uncomfortable truth: great whites are rare. While total numbers are hard to guess, genetic studies show that the effective population, the number of individuals actually breeding, is shockingly low. In some regions, it's smaller than the number of tigers left in the wild. They reproduce slowly. Females do not reach sexual maturity until they are around 30 years old. That is 3 decades of survival required just to produce the next generation. Every individual matters. And despite being the ocean's most feared predator, they are vulnerable. Overfishing, bycatch, habitat loss, orcas with a taste for liver. The ocean is not a throne room. It's a battlefield. And even the apex predator can fall. So here's what we have learned. The great white shark is not a relic. It's not a mindless killer. It's a warm-bodied, socially intelligent, genetically sophisticated predator descended from a lineage that's been perfecting its craft since before the dinosaurs existed. And after all our research, all our tagging, all our genetic sequencing, we still cannot answer the most basic questions. Where do they give birth? Why do they migrate to empty ocean? How do they navigate thousands of miles with pinpoint accuracy? Maybe that's the real lesson. The ocean does not give up its secrets easily. And some mysteries are scarier than any answer we could find. Thanks for watching. And until next time, stay out of the water. This is AncientDoc.